those words.
Good evening and welcome to the City of Battle Creek, Michigan, and our Battle Creek City Commission meeting for June 18th, 24. It is 7 p.m. We welcome you to Battle Creek. We're going to stand and have a moment of silence for our invocation, and then we'll go to the Pledge of Allegiance. And I'd like to ask Commissioner Patrick O'Donnell to lead us in the pledge. Please stand for a moment of silence. Commissioner Patrick O'Donnell.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Patrick O'Donnell. Next item on our agenda will be the roll call. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
Commissioner Ballard.
Present.
Commissioner Lance. Here. Commissioner Morris.
Here.
Commissioner O'Donnell.
Here.
Mayor Banky.
Here.
Commissioner Reynolds.
Present.
Commissioner Simmons.
Here.
Commissioner Smith.
Present.
Vice Mayor Sophia.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next item on our agenda is the proclamations and awards. I'd like to ask the city manager to assist us in announcing.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, these are the Beautiful Battle Creek Awards, and so I will read it off, and if you're here for that, please come up. The mayor would like a photo and to talk a little bit. So the first one I have is from NPC 5, Ward 1, Maud Perry for 78 Bynum Drive.
Are you coming?
Come on up, Kathy. Well, a former mayor, Maud Bristol Perry, is the recipient of the Beautiful Battle Creek Award for this MPC. And Maud is a very involved individual in our community, and I applaud her for her efforts and her continual involvement in Battle Creek. And on behalf of the City Commission, we say congratulations, and I'm going to turn it over to the Ward 1 representative, Commissioner Ballard, for a couple comments.
Kathy, thank you for coming to accept this on behalf of Maud. And we are very happy to have house improvements in our ward. And this is just a beautiful house that she has presented here and the work that she has done on it. So, Kathy, congratulations.
Thanks. Next, we have from NPC 2, the Helen Montgomery Monument located at Claude Evans Park.
I've asked Commissioner Morris to assist in the awarding of this document, and we have several people coming up for this. Mary? Mary, could you stand right here? Thank you. Kathy again.
Here, I'll do it. Or Ted will do it.
Sam and Lynn. Thank you, and then, I'm sorry. I forget. J.R. Reynolds, thank you very much. I remember when we renamed the park for Mrs. Montgomery going back a few years ago, and I'm really honored that we're displaying this and we're awarding this Beautiful Battle Creek Award. I thank the people that are continuing to improve Helen Montgomery Drive and the monument now. Commissioners, is there anything you would like to add?
I would just like to thank all of these people that are standing up here right now for taking the initiative to make our park look better. Claude Evans has, and it still is, going under a lot of changes and a lot of improvements, and I really enjoy looking at the flowers. They looked really beautiful at Juneteenth, and I also live on Helen Montgomery, so I get to see them a lot. And I'm just really grateful to you all for taking the initiative, stepping up, making sure that they're getting watered, reaching out to city officials, and just doing the steps that are necessary to make our park beautiful. So thank you for that. Yes, Kathy, do you want to say something? You might.
I've never known Kathy.
It's been an honor to work on the Helen Montgomery Memorial for the last 5 or 6 years. Sam and Lynn asked me to help rejuvenate the memorial a few years ago, and every year we've made some improvements. I must say that without Mary and JR, there would not be the beautiful plantings that are there right now. But this year we wrote a grant, built a little wall around it, built a little wall around it, and increased the perennial plantings. So we're really excited. It is very beautiful, and thank you so much. And I'm really glad that the Neighborhood Planning Council nominated the monument.
JR, would you like to say anything? All right, Mary?
No, just very briefly, again, kudos to the city because we reached out for help with the blocks and help with the water and and the city is right behind us. Everything we ask for within reason, they're right behind us, so thank you.
And I also saw that you obtained a key. And I think that's great because it saved this key to the city from being distributed here. But thank you very much, everyone.
Mayor, we have one more. This would be for Calvin Lusty and Christina Lewis at 27 Lorem Court. I do not see anyone. We'll make sure that they get that. Thank you, Mayor.
Next item on our agenda is Chair noting any added or deleted resolutions.
There were none.
Thank you very much. Next item on our agenda is petitions, communications, and reports.
And there were none.
Thank you. Next item on our agenda is public comments regarding consent agenda and resolutions not on the consent agenda. If you'd like to make public comment regarding the consent agenda and resolutions not on the consent agenda, please raise your hand and we will acknowledge you to come forward to the podium. You will have 3 minutes to make your comments. Please state your name and address before beginning your comment and indicate which resolutions you are speaking to. Yes, sir, right in front.
Good evening, Commission. Jeff Franklin, 601 Avenue A, Springfield, Michigan, 49037. I'm here as the new director of the Battle Creek Area Transportation Study, having replaced Pat Carr at the beginning of this fiscal year. I'm speaking...
You have some big shoes to fill.
Absolutely.
She was there for many years. So good luck.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I'm here to speak to the resolution that you'll see on the consent agenda 472, and then my support of the non-consent agenda resolution 479. I also wanted to put a face to the name of the agency and witness a city commission meeting for the first time.
Good luck now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other public comments at this time? Yes, sir.
Barry Wayne Adams, 622 West Green Street, otherwise known as the gentleman from Marshall. This is in reference to each and every resolution. Now, what are we seeing procedurally by the use of resolution?
Excuse me, Barry, could you tell me what resolution you're speaking to?
I'm speaking to resolution 467, 468, 469, 470, 471, 472, 473, 474, 475, 476, 477, 478, 479, 480, 481, 482, and finally 483.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, I hope I specified it for your satisfaction. The use of resolution by a legislative body is not something that actually has the force and effect of law. Those are done through bills which are eventually turned into law. The law in the what's called the de jure law in the state of Michigan, or the public acts of the state of Michigan, which come out of Lansing. A resolution is a suggestion. And as we see in each and every one of these suggestions that are going to be made by committee without debate, no doubt. Each of these suggestions are suggestions to the city manager who is really running the show. So when you're using resolutions, all you're doing is creating a simulacrum of constitutional procedural operation, but actually it's operating in the modality of de facto corporativism. Because as you see, every one of these transactions are commercial transactions with other corporate entities. Now, Benito Mussolini, who probably knew better than anyone, concisely defined fascism as the merger of government, business, and the military. And it seems that this has happened through various legalistic mechanisms, even going through the procession of constitutions from 1835 through 1963. And the coup de grace is found in Section 7 of the Michigan Constitution 1963, or Article 7 at Sections 1, 17, and 21.
Your comments are done. Thank you very much, Mr. Adams.
I'll be back.
Are there any other public comments at this time? Yes.
Second, we got to.
Autumn Smith, Battle Creek. I'm speaking to kind of the summary of the resolutions there. I'll shorten it, like the resolutions and different ordinances and stuff you passed. Words matter, and I know that you guys do ordinances and resolutions, and like Mr. Adams stated, like ordinances are derived from the word order, which is a military term, and that flag right over your shoulder is proof that we're operating under military law and authority, and we are not subject to military authority or law through resolutions, through ordinances and stuff, because we are not a military, we are citizens. So I just wanted to kind of remind you that the gold fringe flag is the display of military authority under USC 1-4, USC 10, Executive Order 10-834, and it's not a symbol indicating admiralty or maritime jurisdiction. See McCann versus Greenway. And even though it currently exists, martial rule tribunals operate using colorable admiralty, and that's what you guys are doing, is operating under color of law. So I just want you to think about these resolutions that you guys are passing, because you guys are operating not in the constitutional republic that you guys were sworn to, but under military authority. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Are there any other public comments at this time? Yes, John?
John Kinnifick, 234 South Avenue. The first resolution of the two that I'm going to be speaking is Resolution 472. It has to do with a study about the Battle Creek area transit system. And basically in this resolution it says that the government of Battle Creek, or the taxpayers, are going to pay 18.15% of the study. The federal government is going to cover the rest. However, the 18.15 percentage will be reimbursed by the federal government in line number 1. The total cost in line number 1 says the cost will be $59,751, which hopefully will be reimbursed. And line 3 says that in fiscal year 2025, there'll be an additional $33,123. Now, I've done a little studying on the systems of Battle Creek Transit and the other systems within the Michigan area. And this is all federal dollars, and unfortunately, the federal government is still bankrupt. I would look at, if I was a commissioner, the Battle Creek Transit System and go back 15 years and see if they're financially stable. Every time they're taking money from the federal government to operate, do they always run into red ink? It would show you an indication of the effectiveness or ineffectiveness of the transit system. And that does not include the pensions, which are paid for by the taxpayers of Battle Creek for the transit people that are retiring. Now go to Resolution 842, my final one. It has to do with an agreement between the city government of Battle Creek and Serial City Development Corporation in regards to the Kellogg Arena and Festival Square and other operations. And basically it says that the Downtown Development Authority will most likely reimburse any monies to these operations in case Serial City Development Corporation does not have the money to maintain those. Downtown Development Authority will back that up if there is a shortfall. We know that about 20 years ago, the arena had a $2.1 million money sent from the city treasury for updates. And that's a non-essential service when you think about the services that are supposed to be provided by the city to the citizens of Battle Creek. Your system is screwing up. Anyway, I would look at the amounts of losses or gains by those operations of Serial City Development Corporation, of the Kellogg Arena and Full Blast and the other operations to see if they're fiscally neutral and if we have to constantly bail them out for non-essential things, which is not part of the system. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments at this time? Seeing none, we'll go to next item on our agenda, which is commission comment regarding meeting business.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Support.
Been moved and supported to approve the consent agenda. Are there any items the commission would like to speak to? Seeing none, would you please vote on the consent agenda? The consent agenda has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 478. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
PWS Holdings 23 Battle Creek LLC is redeveloping a parcel located at the southeast corner of the West Columbia Avenue and 28th Street intersection. During a review of the project site plan, the city's Department of Public Works determined that there is a need for a sidewalk for public access upon a portion of the parcel adjacent to 28th Street, and that there is a need to relocate a fire hydrant that provides access to the city's water supply for firefighting. This resolution seeks authorization for the city manager to execute an easement agreement with PWS Holdings 23 Battle Creek LLC for the purpose of a sidewalk easement and a fire hydrant easement upon parcel number 13-52-0615-40-000-0.
I move to approve Resolution 478.
Support.
Been moved and supported to approve Resolution 478. Are there any comments by the commission? Seeing no comments, would you please vote on Resolution 478? Resolution 478 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 479. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
This resolution seeks authorization for the city manager to sign contract number 24-5169 with the Michigan Department of Transportation for chip seal, fog seal, and permanent pavement markings along Helmer Road from Gethings Road to Columbia Avenue, along Hamlin Avenue from Washington Avenue to Division Street, along Kendall Street from Dickman Avenue to Michigan Avenue, and along West Territorial Road from Helmer Road to Capitol Avenue.
I move to approve Resolution 479.
Support.
So moved and supported to approve Resolution 479. Are there any comments, questions, or clarifications needed by the commission? Seeing none, would you please vote on Resolution 479? Resolution 479 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 480. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
Midwest Employers Casualty Company, MECC, is the city's current carrier for excess workers' compensation insurance. There is an increase of 11.83% this year over last year. We have a self-insured retention level of $650,000, and MECC has handled historical claims to our satisfaction. This resolution requests authorization for the city manager to accept the proposal from Midwest Employers Casualty Company to provide excess workers' compensation insurance services for the period of July 1, 2024 through June 30, 2025 at a total cost of $93,368.
I move to approve Resolution 480.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to approve Resolution 480. Are there any comments by the commission? Seeing none, would you please vote on Resolution 480? Resolution 480 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 481. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
The fiscal year 2024 began July 1 of 2023 with an adopted budget showing a general fund use of fund balance of $613,950. A conservative approach was used in the budget development. Staff recognizes that a use of fund balance each year is not sustainable, and as a result has monitored major revenue sources continually throughout the fiscal year to determine if expenditure reductions were required to match revenues with expenditures. Fortunately, as was discussed and presented in the budget workshop, income tax revenues and interest income have both exceeded expectations. It is this estimated increase as well under budget expenditures that has resulted in addition to fund balance instead of a use, as was originally projected. With this amendment, general fund revenues are proposed to increase $236,800. Expenditures are proposed to decrease $1,337,300. This resolution seeks approval for the fiscal year 2023-2024 year-end budget adjustments for the city's general fund, Fund 101, Local Street Fund, Fund 203, and Michigan Justice Training Fund, Fund 270.
I move to approve Resolution 481.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to approve Resolution 481. Are there any comments by the commission on Resolution 481? Seeing none, would you please vote on the approval of Resolution 481? Resolution 481 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 482. Madam Clerk.
The city has had a management agreement with CCDC for more than 2 decades in relation to several city-owned facilities. The last agreement was approved by the City Commission in 2017 and expires June 30, 2024. Under the management agreement, CCDC operates Kellogg Arena and Festival Market Square and utilizes the revenue generated from programming and events to pay all expenses. On an annual basis, CCDC may request operating support from the city, which the city has traditionally provided when appropriate, with funds from the Downtown Development Authority. In 2017, certain downtown economic development duties were added to the management agreement. However, these duties have been removed from the scope of services since the city now provides those services in-house through the Small Business Development Office. The management agreement also allows the city from time to time to request CCDC's assistance in the areas of maintenance, landscape labor, custodial work, and recreational management. When we have agreed on such additional assistance, the city pays for the direct cost of service plus a 6% administrative fee. The city believes this agreement helps generate and increase tourism in Battle Creek, resulting in financial benefit to the local businesses and hotels, and ultimately provides benefits to the city. This resolution seeks authorization for the city manager to execute a management agreement with Serial City Development Corporation regarding Kellogg Arena, Festival Market Square, and other assistance.
I move to approve Resolution 482.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to approve Resolution 482. Are there any comments or questions by the commission? Seeing none, would you please vote on Resolution 482? Resolution 482 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 483. Madam Clerk.
Section 8F of the Open Meetings Act permits a closed session to review and consider the contents of an application for employment or appointment to a public office if the candidate requests that the application remain confidential. All of the applicants for the city attorney position whose applications will be reviewed and considered have requested confidentiality. Patsy Moore, executive recruiter with Michigan Municipal League, has been guiding the city attorney search committee throughout this process and has confidential application material to share with the commission that will be done in the course of this closed session. The city manager, as the designated secretary, will record and prepare appropriate minutes for this closed session. This resolution seeks approval to set a closed session to review confidential employment applications for the position of city attorney.
I move to approve Resolution 483.
Support.
Been moved and supported to approve Resolution 483. Are there any comments by the commission? Seeing none, would you please vote on Resolution 483? Resolution 483 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is general public comment. If you'd like to make general public comment regarding matters over which the City Commission has control, please raise your hand and wait for us to acknowledge you and then come forward to the podium. You'll have 3 minutes to make your public comment. Please state your name and address prior to beginning your comment. Are there any general public comments at this time? David Moore, please, and then we'll go to Kathy Antea.
I notice in these newspapers that, you know, this news about the city, and these projects are slowly are getting done. Like the mechanic place has been on that project for about 4 or 5 years now, and kind of slow getting that done. And we should have a little more information what these people are doing. They ain't much in the papers anymore, and so. That's about too much. I ain't got too much to say tonight. Okay.
Thank you for being here, though, David. We appreciate it. Kathy?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Commissioner, City Manager, Kathy Antea, Park Ridge Drive. Geez, I forgot where I live for a second. I just want to take a moment and acknowledge that Mayor Maud Bristol Perry, excuse me, I had trouble with that, is here. And I just want to acknowledge the wonderful work that she's done both for Battle Creek in terms of mayoral duties as well as the daycare center, and to thank her for maintaining such a beautiful home. Those of us in NPC, Urbandale, are very pleased to have you as a neighbor. Thank you so much, Ms. Perry.
Thank you, Kathy, very much. And for your information, Mayor, I will make the presentation at the end of the meeting. We had some representatives from Ward 1 that received it in your behalf. Thank you. Are there any public? J.R. Reynolds?
Everybody, I'm J.R. Reynolds, 222 Irving Park Drive in Battle Creek. I'm a runner, and I'm a biker too. I just want to acknowledge the linear path and what a great job that the city of Battle Creek has done to help to maintain it, particularly, I think it's the Department of Public Works, or is it Parks and Rec? I'm not sure who it is, but whoever it is, they're good out there, and they're especially courteous and thoughtful, because when you're running by or walking or biking by, they have the wherewithal to stop what they're doing so that you can safely pass. That's something that is really special for people that are out on that linear path on the regular. The other thing was that I just want to just lift up that it is it's just a jewel in this community. And I want to also acknowledge the community members for the people that are out there that are toiling with running or out there walking, just tossing nods. The police, when they roll by, they'll toss nods, at the runners and the bikers and the walkers. I think that it does a whole lot to help to bring, at least for me, it helps to buoy me when I'm running energetically. But then in terms of just community, I think it says just how good Battle Creek is. And so thank you all very much for supporting the linear path.
JR, thank you very much for your comments, and we'll make certain that Department of Public Works, Steve is here, and his staff will have that. And I've got to be honest with you, DLA at the Federal Center has a new military officer, a colonel, and he said, I've only been here for 1 week, and I love the linear path. So people do recognize that a lot, and we appreciate it. Are there any other? Yes, Mr. Adams.
Barry Wayne Adams again, 622 West Green in Marshall. First, I want to thank Rick Sadler for providing this information. He's part of the group of people over in Marshall who are doing more intensive research on what's going on behind the megasite operation. And you've been supplied with a document that is a copy of a letter that was sent from the Select Committee on the CCP, a congressional committee in Washington, to an Undersecretary of Homeland Security. And it concerns, I'll just read the first page, it's pretty concise. We write to request that the Forced Labor Enforcement Task Force immediately place Contemporary Ampers Technology Company Limited, what we call CATL, on the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act entity list. Newly discovered information reveals that CATL is affiliated with Xinjiang Production and Construction Corps, a paramilitary and state-owned system, and the only entity expressly named in that forced labor statute due to its egregious forced labor practices. This affiliation is present in a Tier 1 supplier relationship, which is highly concerning. Now, these aren't just cursory allegations. As you'll see in the document, it goes into a very detailed description of the underlying organizational operations and what's going on with the production of these batteries for EVs, the forced labor that's being used to produce the rare metals that are necessary for these lithium batteries. And as people who have, according to Article 11, Section 1 of the Michigan Constitution and MCL 15.151, you've all taken an oath of office to support the Constitution. That means protecting us from all enemies, foreign and domestic. Now, it seems that what you guys aren't seeming to get is that the effort by the CCP, not the Chinese people, but the Communist Chinese Party, to conquer America is being done through commercial means. They pretty much own the United States debt, and at any point, since the debt is now bigger than the gross national product of the country, of the entire country, they could call on the debt at any time, and we're all considered to be pieces of property in that transaction. So it's, you know, you're being supplied with some information so you can seriously consider what's going on, and think twice about what's happening with your participation in the development of the mega site.
Thank you very much for your comments. Are there any other public comments at this time? Yes, ma'am.
Rebecca Sebring, Fredonia Township. I'm from Marshall. I'm fighting for my town and yours, logically. Anyways, this Ford cattle, just like Barry was saying, that's a real document that you've received. And yeah, anybody that does do business with them, like Marshall and Battle Creek, is engaging in commerce with a foreign enemy. And this is part of, I came here once before and told you about the Chinese initiative, handcuff, which handcuffs the U.S. to them through the battery plant.
Excuse me 1 second. Our timer's not working.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
You can proceed.
Through the battery plants, they own 80% of that and 80% of the solar panels. So they want to make us dependent on them. Barry's right about everything he just said. And it will be rushing 750,000 gallons of infused lithium water right into our river and yours. I'm sure you want to go kayaking in that. That sounds great. So I really wish you guys would reconsider your choices and maybe do right by yourself and the people around you and possibly God or whoever your God is or whatever. Doing the right thing does feel good. I really don't dig coming to these meetings and stuff, but I'll tell you right now, it's so important right now because we are running out of time. If we don't win this election and start speaking up and standing up for one another, we will lose our whole country. And under communism, you will own nothing, you will have nothing, you will be happy. We all will be slaves, even if you catered to what they want. They don't care. We have got to stick together on this, and I just wanted to come here and tell you guys, you know, we're all in this together. This is real. I know it seems like a nightmare, but exactly in the packet, this stuff is going down. We have got to realize that we're going to lose everything if we don't stand together as we the people of the United States of America, because we are all in this together, and no one wants to live under communism.
Ma'am, you're going to have to speak towards.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Rebecca. Are there any other public comments? Yes, Ms. Smith?
I'm going to just talk about viewpoint discrimination real quick. It's a form of content discrimination particularly disfavored by the courts. When the government engages in content discrimination, it's restricting speech on a given subject matter. When it engages in viewpoint discrimination, it is singling out a particular opinion or perspective on that subject matter for treatment, unlike that given to other viewpoints. I'm speaking to this in regards to the flag issue, and also in regards to kind of like what you just did to her. All comments are supposed to be directed to the mayor, but certain other people are allowed to turn around, certain other people are allowed to clap, certain other people are allowed to do stuff. It's, you know, rules for we, not for thee type of things. I also want to speak about the NDAs that you guys signed, and it was signed with the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, and I've evaluated this along with some other people that are a bit smarter than myself, but it was very, very easy to point out and see exactly what you guys are doing. Michigan Economic Development Corporation has told you guys, which you guys need to remember, you work for us, you don't work for them, how to hide information that would normally be public information, and they're labeling it confidential exempt information. And they're telling you what statutes under FOIA to hide it under. They're telling you basically the advisor agrees to maintain a description of each document compromising confidential exempt information in a central place, otherwise comply with the requirements of MCL.243, and there's other subsections, and agrees to claim any and all applicable exemptions from disclosure at law without limitation, including MCL 15.243, 1E, furnished by public body exemption, MCL 15.2.3, subsection F, trade secret exemptions. I also, through FOIA, asked what authority do you guys have to do that? You guys have none. You guys could not produce any authority you have to do that. I asked what authority do you have to sign NDAs? You guys have no authority to sign NDAs, limiting or restricting the public's right to know what happens with government. There's also a really great part in here too about telling you guys how to destroy things. Within 10 days following receipt of a written request from the MEDC or upon the termination of this agreement, but subject to any record retention requirements required by law, the advisor shall destroy such confidential exempt information and provide written certification of that. Those who have nothing to hide, hide nothing. The governments that operate in the shadows are not operating in a democratic manner in the constitutional republic in which you were elected to represent. I am very upset about that. I think you guys, you guys have the right to rescind this at any time. There's nothing there. I don't think anybody held a gun to your head or anything. And I think you guys have the right to do the right thing. And I think the public has a right to know how their government is operating, especially with our tax dollars. Thank you.
Are there any other public comments at this time?
Good evening, Reese Atkins, 3600 West Michigan Avenue. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to Mr. Banky. His Facebook conversations that he puts out there on Facebook have been very informational on the new restaurants coming in and where they are with the permits and everything else. I do appreciate that. I've listened to a couple of them that you have done and got some good information. Now, and the other thing that I'm in here for, and I've talked to you guys many times about housing for felonies, okay? I have talked with Neighborhood Incorporated twice. The first time I got no answer from the young lady after she told me to call her. I went down to Senior Expo. Another young lady from Neighborhood Incorporated gave me the card and said, call her. I called her. 2 days later, she said, are you homeless? I said, no, I'm actually, thank goodness, able to live with my mother-in-law, soon-to-be mother-in-law, but we'd like to get out on our own. We're all adults, you know, we struggle financially. And she said, the only thing we can do for you is we can pay the first month's rent and security deposit, but if you don't have the money to pay for it after that, there's nothing we can do. But if you go spend 3 days out in the streets and become homeless, then we can help you up to 2 years. That doesn't make sense. Somebody who is trying to get out on their own, trying to do good, and is trying to get a little bit of help, is told to be homeless before they could get help? That's disturbing, because all that's going to do is say, okay, the only way we can help you is to go out and live on the street and fill our streets with more homeless people. We need to seriously be looking at the financial standpoint and help these people that are trying to help themselves. That's just asking for a little bit of help and not tell them, well, go out on the street and be homeless for 3 to 4 days, then maybe we can help you after you get a sheet signed from the mission that you were actually out on the street homeless, when the mission won't even let you in the door because they don't let felons in the door with certain felons that have certain cases. They won't even let you in the door. They kick you right back out and tell you, we can't even help you. So let's look at this situation with the homes and helping people, because it's going under the wrong direction, and you've got organizations that are telling people, go be homeless, then we can help you more. That doesn't make no sense when we're trying to stop the homeless, not increase it. So please, think about the ability of what you're doing in allowing people to have homes and helping people to get homes, because the people are trying to get them that need a little bit of help because they can't afford things right now are being told they can't do anything about it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Are there any other public comments at this time? Seeing none, are there any commission comments? Commissioner Patrick O'Donnell.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, there's been some great community events the last couple weekends. Cereal Festival, I'm glad we got to get everybody downtown and enjoy one another's company this last couple weekends ago and show them in Springfield who we really are, you know, the cereal capital of the world. We had a great Juneteenth, and then Bobby Holly also on Saturday gave out 80 new bikes, which I really just think is awesome that he can get the community to come around and lead us and give 80 new bikes to these children out there that can get to ride the linear path, get to explore our wonderful city that we have. Gives them the opportunity to be mobile and see what's out there. What I ask is that people start driving a little better around here. Be safe, because we got 80 new children out there on bikes. Be a little more courteous when you're out there driving. Let's stop this road rage and allow us to start being happy with one another. So what if you have to wait an extra 10, 15 seconds for a little child across the street? That's all I got to say tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other Commissioner Ballard?
Thank you, Mayor. I have to agree with the homeless and the individuals that have certain felonies of what they can't apply and get in. But I think that really comes down from the state and where they say where individuals with certain felonies can and can't live. So I think we need to go to Representative Hodsma and start there and get something changed at the state level so that we can help you at a local level because their hands here locally are end up being tied. What you were just saying about the speeding, I see it every day. I've seen some improvement since the last time I talked about this. But just last week, we had an individual, as I was traveling down Michigan Avenue in Urbandale at 20th Street, come running up on the back of my car as I was in the, what you would call the passing lane, doing 32 in a 30, which, yes, I was speeding, but I thought maybe that would not make somebody want to run over me, and almost hit my bumper, veered off to the right into the slower lane, and jumped in front of me and stopped at 20th Street. I'm surprised he didn't run the light at 20th Street. Then when he did take off from 20th Street, he must have been going by 80 miles an hour by the time he got a block and a half from that light. I did take a picture of his license plate, and I did give that to the police department. So if you see people like this, don't get involved and be able to be shot or something. I'm not asking you for that. But if you see someone and you're able to get a license plate, I think it would help for them to have some type of a log to, because they can't chase them, because we don't want a death involved, even though this person could have killed himself, as unfortunately we've had 1 or 2 motorcycle accidents with death involved here in the last week or 2, including just a single motorcycle, not any other car involved. So please, if you're out there, slow down. It's not that important to get to wherever somebody needs to go. And often we find that people that are passing us and doing that are turning into their driveway 3 blocks later. It just makes no sense. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Simmons.
So it's interesting that both the commissioners talked about speeding and aggressive driving. Never mind.
Turn off my Jiffy Pop.
Maybe it's a sign.
Good. My wife had an incident actually coming home from work tonight. We live on Capitol Avenue Southwest, which is a pretty busy road, but it's a residential road for most of the stretch of it between Columbia and Beckley. And she was turning into our driveway. Asked to slow down to turn into our driveway, and somebody came up on her real fast and laid on the horn. You do that to me, I'm going to slow walk it into my driveway as slow as I can.
Exactly.
And I have people, okay, we all go a little bit over the speed limit from time to time. I'm coming down, it's 35, I'll sometimes go 40. You get up on my tail, I'm going to slow walk you 2 miles all the way down Capitol Avenue Southwest. Okay, I'm a little passive aggressive like that. I do want to share that the Battle Creek Police can't be everywhere at once. But next week, they're going to try to be everywhere they possibly can. And I want to acknowledge, and I shared this on my Facebook page, there are going to be extra traffic patrols between June 23rd and June 29th, and it'll be good to see them out there. Good to see them stopping. I'm done.
Okay, are there any, thank you, Commissioner. Any other, Commissioner Smith?
Because so many commissioners already mentioned it. Just like to add for the record, always drive the speed limit exactly as it's posted. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Jake. Any other commission comments? Seeing none, we're going to recess for a closed door session. So we'll be back here shortly. Thank you.
Rebecca. That's a good question. No. She locked herself out. Oh.
What about everything else? Instagram. I don't trust Facebook anymore. Google. Yeah, for real.
The City Commission is back in session, and I would like to say good evening and thank you for sticking with us. Our recruiter and HR director shared application material of 5 candidates, all of whom requested confidentiality. The commission had already approved a job description that contained minimum qualifications. None of the other applicants met the minimum qualifications contained within the job description. The candidate we have decided to interview tonight clearly met the minimum qualifications, and we're looking forward to interviewing with him. The process for this evening is as follows. Mr. Kim will briefly introduce himself to us, and then I will ask him a couple of questions to begin the process. Each commissioner will then have an opportunity to ask a question, and then we will begin deliberations. And in an effort to keep things moving along, I'd like to invite Mr. William Kim to tell us a little bit about himself. That's your first test.
I guess let me start with just introducing myself and kind of my background. My name is William Kim. I'm currently serving as the city attorney for the city of Flint. My legal career started with the state of Michigan in the office, what was then the Office of Financial Insurance Regulation. By the time I had graduated from law school, it became the Department of Insurance Financial Services. From there, I went to the city of Lansing, where I was an assistant city attorney in their city attorney's office there, primarily assigned as the legal advisor to the Lansing Police Department, but I also handled the criminal prosecution duties as well as civil litigation as well in state and federal court. From there, I went to the city of Flint, where I was initially hired as an assistant city attorney with that office, primarily assigned to federal civil litigation, and that's where I've been since 2015. I became the city attorney for Flint in 2022, and have been serving in that role for the last 2.5 years.
Thank you. So our first question tonight is to please summarize your specialization and experience that would enhance your role as the city attorney.
To the extent that there's a specialization, municipal law is, tends to be a generalist practice. But to the extent that I've specialized in things, I would say that first as civil rights litigation for the various municipalities I've worked for, and that's kind of worked with my role as legal advisor to the Lansing Police Department, later to the Flint Police Department. As a lot of police issues involve giving them advice and counsel on various civil rights issues with the people that they deal with on a day-to-day basis.
Thank you. And then the city attorney is hired by and reports to the city commission, but is also expected to work successfully with the city manager and department heads. How do you envision yourself navigating these relationships and contributing to the city's overall success?
I think that's something I've been having to do my entire career. regardless of the municipality, the city attorney's office basically is there to serve the legal needs of city government. First and foremost, it's elected officials, but from there, in their professional roles to the rest of city government and the departments involved. So I've always seen my role as basically supporting those of both the elected officials who are creating and setting forth the policies, and then the various staff departments, I call them line departments myself, but the ones who are actually tasked with carrying out those policies to hopefully better the lives of our residents.
Thank you. And we are, I believe, we'll just go down to Commissioner Ballard and we'll work our way around the dais. So Commissioner Ballard, would you like to begin the questioning?
I would, and I'm gonna have two. So do you want me to wait and come around for the second question?
Well,
Or you can
yeah.
finish the one and then.
Why don't we finish
do
the one
another
and
one.
yes,
Okay.
we'll finish the one.
So my first question I have for you is, what is your working knowledge of the Freedom of Information Act and the Open Meetings Act?
Well, it's basically something that I've dealt with at least weekly, if not daily in a lot of cases. From my initial position as an assistant city attorney in Lansing, I was acted as a FOIA coordinator for the city. In addition to that, as in Flint, it's similarly, our office is tasked with processing FOIA requests for the city and providing advice to the rest of city government on responding to those requests in a timely and legal fashion. In regards to the Open Meetings Act, particularly as one of my duties currently is to attend city council meetings in Flint and to ensure that the city is basically following the rules and the statutes for the Open Meetings Act. Sure. Like I said, I started out with litigation both at the city of Lansing and with the city of Flint. I've done both criminal prosecution and civil litigation. When I came to Flint, it was the spring of 2015, which, if you're familiar with the events that occurred that year, the Flint water crisis pretty much broke about 5 months after I joined the city attorney's office there. Because I had actually not joined that office until after the emergency managers had left, I was the only person in the office who wasn't conflicted out as a fact witness in those cases. So I, with our outside counsel, led the city's legal response to all the litigation that the city faced for the next, that was basically probably about 2/3 or 3/4 of my responsibility for the next 5 years was dealing with those litigation matters.
Thank you very much.
Commissioner Lance?
Welcome. I graduated in '04 from MSU Law. Congratulations to you.
Thank you, sir.
So what about our community attracts you? Why here? Why do you want to be here?
I think when I saw that the position was open, I reviewed the materials that were kind of available, both about the position and about the city. And one of the things I think that impressed me the most was actually within the city manager's section of the website and kind of the plan, I guess, strategic plan for kind of the priorities for her office, which I understand came through discussions and was set by you as the city commission. I found that to be very impressive in terms of, kind of both setting forth concrete goals for that the city was working for, and also kind of at the same time setting like the high level, intentions of the city for the way that you saw the city moving forward and developing the city for the future.
And what would you say about our community? I mean, forget about the job. What attracts you about Battle Creek?
Well, I've been living in Michigan since basically I was 18, and it's a beautiful community here. I like earlier today, some of the staff took me on a kind of tour of different neighborhoods in the city. And I was really impressed by the variety of neighborhoods and communities within the city that are at the same time cohesive part of the whole here that I was seeing. So.
Thank you.
Commissioner Morris?
Thank you. could you please share your experience in drafting or reviewing ordinances for a city or municipality?
Sure. I've drafted a number of ordinances, or either both as amendments to current ordinances and creating ones from scratch. It's a fairly straightforward process. I found the tricky part is really working with, most of the time I'm working with either senior staff from the line departments or with council members who have their, want to introduce an ordinance on a certain topic to make sure that I understand kind of what it is they're trying to accomplish. Sometimes, that may be different than their initial proposal for what they actually want to do, but if I can understand what they can accomplish, I can, A, make sure that what they're trying to accomplish will actually happen, and B, sometimes there are restrictions that prevent doing something in a certain way, but there are alternatives available, or there may just be alternatives available that may be more cost-effective or may have be simpler to implement without creating complications. So.
Thank you.
Commissioner O'Donnell?
I got two parts to this question. What's one of your biggest obstacles you've had to overcome where you've gotten today? And then after that, how did you overcome this obstacle?
Obstacles to get to where I am today in terms of, I guess, are there particular kinds of obstacles that you're looking at, or just kind of general challenges that are being faced?
Like a life experience, or just something at work that you feel that was a little more challenging that you overcame and showed your true strengths, and like who helped you or that type of thing?
Well, I guess kind of the most recent, general professional challenge that I understand is being faced also by staff here. Recruiting new staff has been really challenging since COVID. It's just the labor market, I guess, if you want to call it that, or just recruiting staff has been really challenging. Salaries are increasing in the private sector, which people understand that when they come work for government that you're not going to be making private sector wages, but we're still competing for in a lot of cases the same pool of staff, and so trying to make sure that we are staying reasonably competitive and reaching out to staff who may not have otherwise heard, normally been seeking government work, has been a challenge that we've had to overcome, that I've had to overcome in my office. I'm happy to say that at various times we've both managed to staff up to our authorized strength, and had times where we've been below that and had to put additional efforts to recruiting necessary staff. So it's kind of one of those things you have to deal with as it comes, and when something that you're doing isn't working, it's try to find some other way to reach out to the people or target audience to get the job done.
Yeah, we're having that same situation at all levels of recruitment, of getting good staff here, so thank you for your answer.
Commissioner Reynolds?
Oh, sure. I thought you were going to go next. Welcome, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am.
As a new city as a new city attorney, how would you build rapport and foster relationships with the city commission? And what strategies would you use to handle conflict between the city commissioners and the city departments?
Okay, well, that's a two-part question.
It is. I'm sorry. Would you like for me to repeat the first one?
No, I understand the first part would be building rapport with the city commission in general and the commissioners, I guess, individually as a specific thing.
Yes.
I've always felt it was important to keep those open lines of communication with my city council or my electeds in my prior positions. I guess I can't force anybody to talk to me, and that may also be a policy choice by a member of the commission. But I can always try to make sure that my door is open, my phones are there to take the call, to at least discuss, whatever the priorities are, what the concerns are. In terms of trying to, I guess, mediate or resolve conflicts between commissioners and city staff, I guess it's hard to say that without kind of a more specific kind of factual situation, because that's going to be very dependent upon, I guess, what the issue is or what the source of the conflict is. There may be times where, I guess, just kind of drawing on my own experience with similar things, where one of my city council members may have wanted to get something particular done and felt that one of the line departments was not being sufficiently responsive, where I've had to try to, to explain, at least as I understood the situation, the request that they were making was not something that could necessarily occur or couldn't occur in the time frame they were looking at. On the other hand, sometimes it's just a case of somebody's talking to the wrong people, and redirecting that inquiry to the right person could get a better result. So it's going to be dependent really upon I guess, the specific type of conflict that you're talking about.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Simmons?
Big part of city business is contracts, and so I'm hoping you can describe a little bit of your experience, whether it be labor contracts, other contracts the city might enter into, your experience negotiating contracts.
Negotiating contracts, I mean, it happens all the time. So it's, in general, when you're approaching contract negotiations, I try to approach them from the perspective of we're obviously trying to protect the interests of the city here, but we are trying to really forge a kind of long-term relationship here, which means we're not trying to get one over them the same way that we're looking to make sure that we're not getting taken advantage of. As a practical matter, that requires attention to detail, and also working with, frankly, the line departments who are generally going to be more subject matter experts in the area of the contract. I'm a lawyer. I'm egotistical enough to think I'm a pretty good lawyer, but I'm not, for example, an expert on water safety. I know enough to be dangerous, but like when it comes for something about water treatment or water safety, I'm going to be relying upon the staff in those departments to provide the expert knowledge in that area that I don't have. So,
thank you.
Commissioner Smith?
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. I don't have any questions at this time, but I want to thank you for joining us tonight. I appreciate you taking the trip. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mayor?
Thank you very much, Sherry. I'd like to welcome you to Battle Creek also. I do not have any questions for you right now, so I look forward to working with you in the future, and we're going to probably deliberate here now.
Thank you, sir.
Does anybody else have any other questions? No? I will give you a few minutes if you want to kind of summarize, make a final pitch. I mean, you are interviewing us as well as we are interviewing you, so I appreciate the time that you've taken to be with us tonight, and I will let you have the final words here.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I guess I'd just like to say I'm very appreciative of the invitation to come and interview before the commission. Kind of as when the opportunity became, publicized and aware, I did some of my own looking into the way that Battle Creek has been doing things, and reviewed a number of your commission meetings just to see kind of how, I guess, you all interacted with each other and addressed business that's before the commission, and I would hope that I would have your support. So,
thank you.
The new break room, kudos to Katie Norton, it's awesome. You should pop your head in there. Everybody's pretty excited about the canteen.
All right. So I guess Mr. Kim has been in town all day today, meeting with senior staff, meeting with city attorneys. I mean, not that city attorney staff isn't senior staff, but meeting with various individuals, getting a tour. Either Rebecca or Jill, did you want to say anything about that experience today before we start talking?
Sure. So I was in on the senior staff meeting. And, I think he was really able to answer everybody's questions. I think Commissioner Simmons would, I don't know if you saw it in his cover letter about his administrative hearing bureau that they have in the city of Flint. And, he met with my staff, and my staff all told me separately they were, felt relieved that he seemed to know what he's talking about. As I said, they said he's not you, but, we think he would do just fine here, so.
I think I got very similar feedback from the senior leadership team. They got to meet with him for a good hour, and, they felt like he understood the city lingo. Sometimes that can be very intimidating for somebody that isn't in the municipal world, so that was kind of nice feedback to hear. It's very difficult in a one-hour greet to kind of judge someone's leadership or ability to be a leader. That's really for all of you. But they felt he was personable, approachable, and, even when he didn't quite understand or doesn't have the experience in a certain area, he said it. Like, I haven't worked in, so much with an airport as an example, something like that. So that's really the feedback I got. Overall, positive, and look forward to the commissioners considering him as well.
A question of staff. I understand that we have ongoing cases within the city. We can't necessarily discuss that with him. So if we were to offer to him or any other candidate, okay, your first day of the job, we lay that out. And do they know, or can we give them a general synopsis of these are kind of the nature of the cases that we have pending before us, and then how we think they might be able to deal with it without being overwhelmed on the first day?
Yeah, so I did share a little bit with him today about what's public record, what's been filed in the public. Depending on maybe a creative contract, maybe, and if he were willing, like before his official start date of full-time, that maybe there could be something worked in it that he were an employee for purposes of, a few days to be able to get that confidential information and get on board. So, but we did talk a little bit about, given that Jonathan is leaving Friday, and he actually had a great idea of something, something to address that gap,
okay,
and what we would do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Ballard, do you want to, you had the first questions. Do you want to, what would you like to weigh in here? Or,
I would.
Okay. I thought you might have something to say.
I would suggest that I would like to introduce a motion to have a special meeting next week.
I think that we...
Want to wait?
Yeah, I think that we
Okay.
probably need to have a little more conversation.
That's fine.
So
first.
is my understanding, if we want to have further deliberations, that we move to have further deliberations
Yes.
regarding that, and then set that forward?
Giving Rebecca and here.
So does any, Commissioner Morris?
So from my perspective, I think that he is very qualified for this position based on the information we received. I feel like he did very well with answering the questions for our interview, so I'll be willing to support moving forward with this candidate.
Thank you.
Maybe I could help a little bit here. I think to kind of toss out there the couple of options. Number one, you're either ready to move forward and someone would make a motion to authorize the mayor and the vice mayor to enter into contract negotiations with William Kim, or and then if there were support for that, then you could discuss it and have a vote. If somebody else feels like you need more time and you want to do more investigating, then someone could motion to adjourn and consider something later and do more investigation. So I think those are the kind of two things that you might be looking at tonight.
I'd like to make a motion. Okay, Commissioner Reynolds?
Yeah. I would like to make a motion to give permission for mayor and vice mayor to move forward with further negotiations
Contract negotiations
contract negotiations with.
for the position of
for
city
the
attorney
position
for
of city
William Kim.
attorney for the city of Battle Creek.
Support.
So motion by Commissioner Reynolds, support by Commissioner Simmons. Is there a discussion? Commissioner O'Donnell?
I know this has been a very unique process for all of us. I'd like to thank the Vice Mayor for coming together and making this all work out well. As we've discussed before, there's 9 of us here. We all have 9 different opinions at sometimes, and sometimes we're in quite good agreement with each other. And I applaud all of us for coming together and showing that we can actually get through this process quite well. So thank you, all commissioners.
I guess I'll say this. I've been through lots of interviews for lawyers. Our firm has had 70 lawyers, it seems, in the past 10 years. This attorney is presented well, but we just don't know, right? You just don't know. I'm not super thrilled with the process, with the time frame of all of it, but again, even if we have a long process, I've been through different processes where we had months and it still didn't work out. I would just say that I will support the approval of the negotiations, but we just need to be very cautious in our negotiations with attorneys because you typically don't know what happens until a few months into it. So that's all. But I'll support the candidate.
Thank you. Commissioner Ballard?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Got to bring back my memory here. So I'm in support of you making negotiations and bringing it back to us. What I wanted to say was I wanted the public to understand that this is the first time, and correct me if I'm incorrect, that in 30 years that we've gone outside of the city to hire an attorney. In the past, the 30 years of attorneys being for the city have been hired from within, and I just wanted the public to know that. So.
Commissioner Simmons?
And as far as the process, Commissioner Lance did say it was not the perfect process, but we chose as a body, the process has been going on for a few months now. We chose as a body to delegate the process. Michigan Municipal League helped us with putting out the criteria that we asked for. So there's a lot. If you're watching on TV and you say they only just interviewed one person, there have been behind the scenes many applications received, vetting that with the criteria that we laid out, as well as and to refine it down to this point. So I'm comfortable with that work. Again, you never know until and then we always have processes built into our contracts going forward. If something doesn't work out, then those are options in the future for us. But I'm pleased with moving forward at this time. Thank you.
Any other commission comment, questions?
Sherry, I'd like to just make one more comment. I know that this has been a challenge for not only our community, but for other communities throughout Michigan, and I think this is a sign of the times. However, I was very impressed with the interview that we had with our applicant. I look forward to working with him. I know this isn't going to be easy replacing Jill, but no one's irreplaceable. We need to move ahead, and like Commissioner Lance said, sometimes you work for months to get a new employee, and sometimes it doesn't work out. But I'm sure that the mayor and the vice mayor and myself may be calling upon you for suggestions when it comes to the negotiations. So feel free to chime in if we call upon you. So I'm prepared to vote. It's up to the rest of the commission. I would ask that we vote a unanimous ballot for the hiring of William Kim as our next city attorney.
Second.
Oh, well, we already have a motion on the floor.
Oh, sorry, Mayor, there was already a.
Well, I was trying to make it unanimous officially.
Led me on that one, Mayor.
A point of order. We're talking about entering into contract negotiations with them.
Correct.
Not actually offering the position right now. Okay,
Correct.
thank you.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, if we enter into contract negotiations we may not be able to reach an agreement. I mean,
But
that's just,
even if you do reach an agreement, it will come back before this body to
Correct.
approve. Yes.
correct,
At another public meeting. Yes,
Correct.
thank you.
Right.
yes.
But it may be a special meeting, right?
A lot will
Could
depend
be.
on timelines.
Right.
I mean, in timeframes.
Yeah.
So seeing no other comments, we're prepared to vote. Now, Vicki, what do you want the mayor and I to do since we're sitting at each other's? Do you want us to refrain from, like, you do everybody, we'll refrain from voting, and then you just call on us?
To call the vote instead
roll
of
call vote would be.
doing the keypad?
Yeah, why don't you do that?
That's fine.
Okay. Commissioner Ballard,
Yes.
Commissioner Lance.
Yes.
Commissioner Morris.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Donnell,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sophia,
Yes.
Commissioner Reynolds.
Yes.
Commissioner Simmons,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
and Mayor Banky.
Yes.
Thank you.
Seeing no other business to come before the commission, we are adjourned.